Welcome back to Fangs and Infernos. It is day 2. We're here back at New Jersey HorrorCon. We're going to have a lot more fun. Thank you for everybody who checked out everything we did for day 1, but it's day 2, and we're going to continue it on. So we're going to get into it a little bit. We're going to talk about some movies, some independent films, and one of our beloved. So we're hanging out right now with Scott Goldberg. We're hanging out with Chiko, the star of the film, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Forest Hills. First and foremost, Scott, Chiko, thank you so much for a little bit of your time.
Sure.
Welcome to the Vampireanddevil podcast, and talk a little bit about how the Forest Hills got started.
Sure. So I know Chiko for about 20 years. We worked on like an independent project where I was doing in college, like a short film where I needed a zombie victim, and he poured blood on himself. First time I ever worked on him, gallon of blood, scratching up his skin to make it look like he was mauled by a zombie. And then all of a sudden, I saw a spark in his eyes and what he could do, and it gave me a spark in my eyes. Like, holy shit, this guy's great. Never knew him before that. He just responded to a Craigslist ad, and then 20 years later, we kind of just put together another project, which was the Forest Hills, and I had him in mind as far as the character of Rico. So yeah.
That's awesome, man, for sure. Talk a little bit about like what it is about like the Forest Hills for you. Like, how did it come about? What was it about the story? How did it hit you? What were you thinking about it?
Sure. So I knew Chiko having kind of like the talent he has and utilizing what I knew he could do, because we worked on like a bunch of short films and stuff where we play like emotional characters, crazy characters. So I knew that he can dig deep and get to a place where this character needed to be. So the character of Rico is kind of like a guy who descends into madness and has a lot of trauma. Not only head trauma, but trauma with his relationship with his mom, played by Shelley Duvall. He just Chiko was able just to kind of get into that mode every time. And there's sometimes too, like where we're in a rush and stuff, and it's an indie film, guerrilla filmmaking, and I'm like interrupting him, and it's like he's so in the moment that it's so interesting seeing his craft as well. Even though we're working for 20 years, we still there's still things like that we're still learning about each other. So in that moment, I realized he needs a couple seconds because he's gotten so deep into that character. Give him a couple seconds, and then then take a little break, not break as far as a cut. But like as far as like a little breather for a couple seconds, he gets back into it because he's not Rico at that point. He talks about that too. He's not Chiko anymore. He's Rico.
Yes.
So he goes so deep into the character, and that's what you want as like a director, someone who will go those extra lengths to do that.
Absolutely, for sure. Devil?
Awesome. Yeah. So obviously you're talking about it with Shelley being your mom. First of all, how was it to work with such an iconic actress? I mean, everybody loves Shelley Duvall, R.I.P. with her. But how was it to work with her and being able to do scenes with her and stuff like that? How was that?
It was. I want to say, for the most part, it was surreal. I couldn't believe where we were, and that we were in the same area where she was. But then again, the other side, I said she's a human being, she's a person, and I approached her just like that. Just like I said, she works on her craft. She's super talented. She's done so much. She has worked with so many people that have skilled and have these gifts. And for me to be in that room, I said, well, it takes a while, but here we are now, and we're still human beings. And you have a bag of tools. I found these tools along the way, and I'm here now. Let's mix them all up and see what we can do, and I approached it that way. So that's why we were able to sit down, chit chat, tell each other jokes. She told me stories about Hollywood and directors and the projects she worked on, and while she was spoken to, and she started humming and singing all these beautiful songs. And led me to wind up singing to her later with a guitar, and then we hit it off like that. And then she wound up singing with me, and I was teaching her, like, do the backup a little higher. She's like, and I was like, okay, now doing the harmony. And we were just like two little kids, just making a film. And then when he calls action, boom, she's my mom, and I'm the pissed off son. But first, it was a human, social, just personal. Let's not talk about film. Let's not talk about the scenes. Let's not put away this script. let's connect as humans. First.
Yeah, exactly.
You're my mom and this and that. You know, I helped her out. He wanted. I'm part method. I love. You know, they say that method is just the way of somebody's preparation for a role as an actor, as a performer. But we all know that quote unquote the significance it's been given is that you run off and prepare for that specific role, and whether it's physical, emotional, psychological, whatever it is. So we were kind of sort of both like that. So he with an attempt to make me prepare, and he knows that I'm partly method. He would say, "You are good with her physically, like help her out, as a son would."
Yeah.
Help her up off the wheelchair into the bed, and I used all of that, but also as a human being, as a caring human being.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rico, the character, is a crazy. You know, his psyche is he's pissed off at the world because he can't cure what's in his head. He can't fix it.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he actually says, "I need help. Give me help. I need help. I'm not well. I'm not." He's like, you know, I'm not good. I'm broken. Fix me. Help me. Fix me.
Yeah.
Help me. Fix me. You know, and then I could fix everybody else. Help. So he knew that, and he threw me at her like, be a son and help your mother. That type of thing.
Yeah.
And I used that, and it was awesome. And that's how we really connected.
Yeah.
That's how some of the scenes were very, very dramatic internally.
Yeah.
For us, both of us. When I got angry at her, at one point, she started tearing because I was just staring at her. And I started tearing, then she started tearing. And we were both like,
yeah.
You know. And that was the connection we needed for the mother and son team there for ourselves.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you were talking about like that method actors and people who are, do you prefer to be like, as far as being that more of a method actor that kind of stays in character throughout a film, or do you like to kind of only be that character and then as soon as it hits cut, you're back to your normal self?
Well, yeah. That's the professional. That's a professional technique. Is the minute he says cut. In the industry, you normally cut, your work is done.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like I worked with a director once that he was quoted saying something, and I don't know if it was a newspaper. He said working with me was like turning on a light switch, on and on. But I learned to do that because of my theater background.
Okay, yeah.
I have a very long theater background. I just didn't know that film existed until the early mid-2000s. I found film then. I was like, oh, this is film. This is film acting for film. Because I'm all theater, and in theater it's all live.
Well, yeah.
And it's all, and there are no second takes. There's nothing there, and that's where the impromptu comes in. That's where the improvisation. Anything happens, you have to continue. The lights are on, and there's 100 people watching. And then you have to make something out of nothing. If there's a flub, if there's no line, you got to create some whip it out of your, you know what. And I brought that to the film set. I worked behind the scenes a lot too.
Yeah.
So I was standing there, we build the stages, we run the wires, and running around making the film. And I learned the process of being back here as well. So while I'm on stage, it's like I know that once we're done here, when he says cut, I have to cut. We have to get off the stage. I have to remove the rug. I have to bring in for the next scene. And it's 2 o'clock. The sun's going down, and it's a profession.
Yeah.
But you don't have any of that.
Yeah, on
like
stage,
I was growing up, it's basically just we're gonna perform on the rock by a river, eat your sandwich. It's gonna be live. No instruments, no electricity, no nothing until the sun goes down. And still we can continue to perform. Nobody's stopping us. But when you have all of this and hundreds of people involved with a lot of money involved, then that's where the technique comes in. So I have, by the grace of God, I have the honor and the privilege of having those tools and mixing them up. So with that said, there is no method all the time. That's a tool, you know, and it really depends. The character, the role, the project, where we are, the budget, who you're working with. But sometimes you can work with a director and there's like, okay, before he calls action, there's 1,000 words said.
Yeah.
And you can work with another actor, another director, where all he has to do is 3 words, dot, 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 and that's all you need. Really, everybody's different. Man.
Yeah,
really
yeah,
depends.
exactly.
And then the chemistry, where you are, the atmosphere, who's working, and like ants, like who's, we all know the whole Christian Bale thing when that one PA screwed up and all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
So anything like that can happen. But again, he could have been the one to fix a major problem where everything goes smooth.
Well, yeah.
So method could be used here and there, but not necessarily here because I do comedy too and I sing. He's had me sing like off key on purpose. He had me play the piano. I was playing the piano all screwed up on purpose. I play a little bit, but in my head I was like doing it right. But that's the character.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He made me do that.
Well, that's what I always love about method actors, because one of the funny stories I ever heard was with Lance Henriksen, when they made Near Dark. He was still in his full vampire gear and was driving really fast, and a cop pulled him over, and he still played it as that character. Where Bill was like, no, man, he's just messing, because they were gonna get like arrested. Like the cop was getting ready to pull a gun, and he was just like, I'll eat you. I want to taste your blood. And he was like, no, he's just playing. He's just playing. Like, hey, man, I know you're a method actor, but come on, you're gonna get us in trouble.
Speaking of, remember that one time when we shot the night they came back?
Right.
That was the movie where I did my own makeup as a zombie.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I had to leave, and we were done. I had to leave, and I drove off. I forgot I had makeup on, and I remember going up and down like the Grand Central, over the bridge. I went through the teller, and at that time, you pay. When I paid, and they gave me the receipt, and I drove off, the teller was staring at me like this, and I drove off, and she was just like. I didn't realize. I was like, oh God, I hope I'm not getting a ticket. I hope my license plate didn't fall off, and I hope I didn't have my headlight out. My seatbelt. Oh yeah, okay. I got home. I saw myself in the mirror. I'm like, oh God.
That's what she was looking at.
Saw a zombie driving off, but they don't say anything either. It's like, hey, you back from the dead. It's like you owe me from 35,000 years ago. Remember? So that's the only part where method meets comedy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was doing it, but I wasn't crossing the toll booth like this either,
Well, yeah.
Myself. I just forgot I had makeup. As I said, when he calls cut, it's the end of the day, we're done, gotta go, because anything could happen on the way home, like get arrested.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So there's a time. If I'm still on set and we're still going to shoot another scene, I'd like to stay in the zone.
Yeah.
Not necessarily as the character trash and shit, because then there's the liability insurance.
Wow.
You gotta learn about all of this stuff. And then run off into a corner, be quiet, or in a room, or have a minute to regroup before action again.
For
I
sure.
like that separated. I like to separate it so that it's not like all the time just one thing.
Yeah.
Scott, when it comes to that as well, of course, when it comes to Shelley, everybody's very familiar with The Shining and Popeye. Those two movies alone, her character acting are absolutely amazing in that, let alone some of the traumas that, of course, are very well documented with Stanley's style. As a director, when you have somebody on your cast that you know has a certain sensitivity due to previous situations, do you ever have any, ways that you have to tweak your own directing style that doesn't compromise your vision or how you feel things need to be done, but when you know there's something you have to be cognizant about from previous actors' experiences, how do you look at that without changing your style as a director?
So when the crew went down for the first 2 days, when they filmed with her, I was, discussing with her, and Chiko, second day, was working with her on her lines, and we were all working extensively. And I didn't notice any issues or anything. So very professional, very sweet, sharp as a tack. She still had it. She still had the dedication and wanted to do all those types of things and act. And then actually meeting her and being there with her was really nice too. So the only limitations were really her physical health. With her foot and the foot infection she had, more so than anything, honestly. So
Sure.
We were there to be a support to her. Dan Gilroy, her partner, was there, so he was always there every time we were filming with her. and overseeing everything. So she was really sweet, and really kind and really nice to work with. So
awesome.
Yeah, she was really sweet.
I mean, with the Shelley too, how were you able to approach to get her to be a part of the movie? Like with her, obviously, going away from being in the movie industry for so long, how was your approach to get her to be in the film?
Sure. So I contacted Dan Gilroy, her partner. I found like a website where I found his number. She had, I think, so Sarah, who runs the Instagram, the Shelley Duvall XO Instagram. I saw that there was a documentary being done with her by a guy named Xavier, and it was like from 2020. I think Shelley had stopped that certain documentary. But I reached out to Sarah. I said, hey, is there any way you get me in touch with Shelley? She's like, she didn't know who I was. I could have been anyone, I could have had whatever intentions. So she said no. And I was like, well, you know what? I really want to work with her. I did a brainstorm. She's a partner. I contacted him and I said, if she's interested, I texted him and said, if she's interested, let me know. And then he gave me her cell number. He didn't even ask anything. He said, here's her number. Texted Shelley. I said, are you interested in doing a film in New York? And she said, yes, I'm interested. I think it was her text. Yes, I'm interested.
Oh, nice. It's like I said before, it's almost as if she's been just waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting to just
for the right
do it
moment.
again.
Yep.
Do it again. Like wait, just like she said it in an interview. It makes her want to do more.
Yeah.
And she just loves it. She just loves it. But life is life. And
yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it takes us away from what we love to do.
Yeah.
But we always go back to it.
Oh, for sure. And also, Scott, I wanted to ask you about working with Edward Furlong. I'm also a big fan of Edward's work. His Shane Casey character in CSI New York, I'm a super fan of that character. But I mean, obviously, American History X, Terminator 2, Detroit Rock City, there's not enough time for all of that. So how did those conversations go, and how was it directing Edward?
Yeah, it was a process because there was agent at the time, Mark, with the Industry Entertainment. I was talking to Mark Russo, his agent, and manager agent, and at the time we're kind of just going back and forth. Well, he's unavailable because the price is too low and all stuff. So it just was a conversation over a 6-month period where it was like, well, let's get as a voiceover in the beginning. We need like a voiceover in the beginning of the film. Then it became, well, we want it for one day, and then over time it just kept on persisting. And then so we kind of came to an agreement where he would come for 3 days, and there was an extra day that he came, the 4th day, later on from some added-on film shoot. But yeah, he was really nice, and just the process took a while. But yeah, he's very, very cool. Everyone loved him. A lot of people came on crew because they're a fan of Eddie as well. Some of the PAs and stuff. So just had a nice time working with Eddie, and he was really cool. We had like a trailer that was supposed to come, got canceled last minute. But obviously someone like Eddie's caliber, they need some space sometimes, whatnot. Of course, I'm not speaking for Eddie, but everyone comes up to him and says, "Oh, Eddie," and they're a fan, just like I am. But he was really cool and really chill and just like hung out with everyone, So he was really, really chill and nice to work with.
Was he somebody that you specifically wanted for the movie?
Of course, yeah. I grew up on the Terminator 2, so with my mom in the theaters in '91. I was like 9 years old. I think it was like '91 it came out. I was born in '82, so I saw that, and I also had like Sour Patch Kids, popcorn, soda, and just watched the movie. And I related to him because I felt like he was like kind of someone my age, and I related.
I'm a huge
Brain Scan was later on, but then in college, right before I met Chiko, around the time, I got a DVD of Detroit Rock City, and that's what made me fall in love with Kiss.
Yeah.
And so I've just been a fan of his from those 2 movies, and then Brain Scan later on. But that's kind of how I got introduced to, Edward Furlong as a 9-year-old watching him on the big screen.
Yeah, I was going to say, how was your experience with working with him?
It's like, well, he plays my best friend, so I approached him as such. First day that he walked in through the fence, I basically rehearsed the scene that we were going to do together. When I first saw him, I jumped on him and hugged him. Like, I've been waiting to see him, not meet him, see him as my friend. I haven't seen him in 20 years. I've been dying to see you, and I hugged him as my best friend.
Yeah.
So that he gets comfortable with that notion, and me too. So we hit it off from day one, and we helped each other with the lines. at one point, we even put the script down and let's talk to me. Let's talk to each other. What happened with Sadie? What happened? And then get comfortable with all dialogue. And once you knew what was happening, and he loved all of that because I don't know much about Eddie's background as far as theater, and I do know that he was a child actor.
Yeah,
He's been acting in film.
Yeah, since
At
he
a
was
very,
little.
very
Yeah.
early age. So I don't know where in between did he get to do maybe something live that wasn't film.
Yeah.
And we helped each other with that. He's a film professional. I love theater, and we mixed it up. I feel that we exchanged those tools.
Yeah.
It's like, here, you hold my hammer. I'm going to grab your pliers, and then okay, take your pliers. I'm going to take my hammer, and that made us work very, very well. I love it. Every scene. When friends grab each other, they pull their hair. It's like, come on, slap each other. Come on, man. And we got that going. And I think it shows our friendship a little bit. So I approached him the first day, and he was a little bit like, but then he loosened up. Like I said, he just got off a plane, just got dropped off. He's coming onto the set. He's not waiting to meet his best friend.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd give him that. To break the ice early, instead of later. It's like, come on, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah,
because in theater it's only one shot.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's the cool thing about I like this movie. When you think about the thing, you talk about the iconic with Shelley, the iconic with Freddie Furlong. You have another iconic actress, which is America's mom, Dee Wallace. I mean, come on, and she was like everyone's mother as growing up. E.T., Cujo, always that love. I mean, she had that other side, like in The Howling and all that stuff, but she was, for intent purposes, everyone's mother who was a kid in the 80s.
Critters, dude.
Yeah, Critters. Like I showed her my Critters tattoo, and she screamed and yelled so loud that the whole con thought I was killing her. I'm the greatest person in the world. How was it like working? Because she's such a sweetheart in real life too. How was it like working with her?
Yes. Oh, speaking of sweetheart, she plays my boss in the movie, and you've seen the movie already, right? So you know that she winds up dead, right?
Yeah.
That one peeve that she had against me, not against me, but she brought to us. She said that a lot of her fans were messaging her or were posting online that they were pissed off at Rico, and I was like, why? And it's like, and their opinion is you don't kill Dee, and that's what she gave me, and I was like, okay, that's funny, but
spoiler alert, Fangs and Infernos.
Yeah, for anybody out there that hasn't seen it, skip that part.
No, you don't kill Dee. That's why I didn't kill her.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's why, and then that's what we.
That's true. Yeah, that's
he went back and rewrote the script. We're not gonna whack her.
You can't kill.
Is it a dream? We don't know. See, that's the thing about the film. You don't know what's part of his reality or not.
Yeah, so, there you go.
Does he? Doesn't he? We'll see.
Yeah.
I saved you on that one. Or did I?
Was it real? Was it? No.
See, now we got everyone confused.
You have to watch the film.
Yep.
But one more thing that we wanted to ask you guys, of course, before we let you continue to meet the fans and enjoy yourself at New Jersey HorrorCon, is what would you say you want the fans to learn and look forward to about this movie? The great stellar cast comes without saying. But when it comes to putting out passion projects and independent films, of course, there's always a little bit of what you want the fans to get out of it. Yeah. How do you kind of see that, Scott?
Just enjoy the film, and if you don't enjoy it, that's fine as well. We put art out there for people to watch. Yep. We just appreciate anyone who supports a film, anyone who doesn't support the film. Everyone has a right. When you look online, you see all the reviews. It's positive and negative, but you make movies. You're not making them for the reviews. Of course, you like people to like it, but you make them because you want to, and you want to tell a story that you feel like hasn't been told before, and that's what you should do as a filmmaker and as an artist.
Oh, yeah. Because that's what I love about it too. Because not only can you come to cons like this and get it, but your movie is also on Tubi, which Tubi has found such a great thing for horror movies now. That's like the horror place. Soska Sisters put out a movie that was on Tubi, so it's like their horror collection is amazing now. So for fans out there that want to see the movie, go and check it out on Tubi, or go out and buy the DVD. I'm pretty sure you can go and stream in all the places. You can I'm sure you can find it on the website to buy it online too.
Yep. WatchTheForestHills.com. Yep.
Yep.
Or we'll be at whatever convention we're at this year. Pick up a Blu-ray and that's
awesome.
We'll be here.
Absolutely. Well, Scott, first and foremost, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you so
Chico, thank you
Doctor.
so much as well. Doctor. Thanks, in Infernos. We love you guys. We'll be back. We'll have some more conversation. But thank you so much for checking this out, and make sure that you're going out on Tubi or wherever you can watch it in person. Get a copy. The Forest Hills. Enjoy it. Check it out. Write a review and just get the word out about it. So again, on behalf of Scott Goldberg, for Chico, we really appreciate you guys. We'll be back in a little bit. I'm Vampire, he's Devil, but more importantly, they are Scott and Chico. We'll see you guys soon. Horns up, fangs out.